So, you've spent decades working, saving, planning for retirement. But now that it's getting closer, that one big question starts to get louder and louder, doesn't it? Are you really ready? You know, that question can be kind of paralyzing. So today, we're going to cut right through all that confusion with a simple 5-point test to find out for sure. All right, here's the game plan. We're going to start with that big, ultimate question. Then we'll walk through the 5 essential checkpoints you need to hit. We're talking everything from your income and your debt to the stuff people forget, like taxes and, well, what you're actually going to do every day. And hey, if you're not quite there yet, don't worry. We'll wrap up with a toolkit of strategies to get you on track. Let's dive in.
I mean, this is it, right? This is the question that can keep you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. It's not just about having a certain number in your 401k. It's about confidence. Can you really turn off that steady paycheck for good and not have a panic attack every time the stock market sneezes or when you see prices going up? That's the real confidence we're looking for.
To help you answer that question, we're going to use a really simple green light system. Just think of it like a pilot's pre-flight checklist for your retirement. These 5 checks are going to tell you if you are cleared for takeoff.
Okay, so what does it take to actually pass this thing? The good news is, it's not about getting a perfect 100% score. Instead, there's a simple but really crucial rule for what it takes to get the all clear for retirement. And here is that rule. You absolutely, positively need a green light on the very first test. That one is completely non-negotiable. After you've got that one locked in, you just need a green light on at least 3 of the other 4. That's it. That's the benchmark for being ready.
All right, let's get right into that all-important first test. This is everything. This is the bedrock, the foundation of a retirement where you can actually sleep at night. It's all about making sure your most basic, must-pay bills are covered. For life, no matter what Wall Street is doing.
So let's just break this down into plain English. On one side of the equation, you have what we'll call guaranteed income, or GI. Think of this as your new permanent paycheck. It's the money that shows up every month, like Social Security, a pension, or an annuity. On the other side, you have your essential monthly expenses, or EME. These are the absolute gotta-have-its, your housing, food, utilities, and basic healthcare costs. Okay, so here's the bottom line for this test. You get a big green light if your guaranteed income is equal to, or even better, greater than your essential expenses. This means you never ever have to sell stocks in a down market just to keep the lights on. If your GI is less than your ME, you're in that not yet zone. And that means you're relying on the market for your basic needs, a super risky place to be.
Okay, so once that foundation is solid, we can move on to tests 2 and 3. These are all about getting really honest about the real-world flow of your money, what you're actually spending and what you still owe.
Okay, get ready for this number because it is a huge wake-up call for a lot of people. Most new retirees underestimate how much they'll spend each year by 20% or even more, especially in those first few go-go years when you're finally traveling, doing all the things you put off. Your simple budget spreadsheet might not capture that reality. So a green light for test number 2 means you have a realistic spending plan. And that brings us right to debt, and wow, the psychological impact here is just massive. It's not just about the math, it's about your peace of mind. I mean, can you imagine removing that giant mortgage payment from your life? You free up so much cash, yeah, but you also free up a ton of mental space and worry. So for test number 3, here's the question you gotta ask yourself. Are your housing costs, we're talking your mortgage or your rent, taking up 30% or less of that guaranteed income we just talked about? If the answer is yes, you're in a really strong spot. You get the green light. But if it's way more than that, that debt could put a serious strain on your retirement. All right, on to our next 2 tests. And these are the ones that, honestly, a lot of people they forget about them. Because it's not just about having the money, it's about having a smart plan to use it, and a plan for what you're actually going to do with all that new free time. Okay, let's make some of those scary retirement acronyms a little less scary. RMDs are just withdrawals the government says you have to take from accounts like a traditional IRA or 401k once you hit age 73. The problem? That withdrawal is taxable income. And if it pushes your income over certain thresholds, it can trigger IRMAA, which is just a fancy way of saying you'll pay higher premiums for Medicare. It's a nasty double whammy if you're not ready for it. Now, getting a green light here doesn't mean you magically pay 0 taxes. I wish. What it means is you have a proactive, written plan. You know which accounts you're going to pull money from first, you know how you're going to manage things to avoid those surprise tax bombs and those painful Medicare surcharges.
And now for maybe the most surprising test of all, the purpose test. Get this, almost 1/3 of retirees actually go back to work. And it's not because they ran out of money, it's because they ran out of things to do. They got bored. Seriously.
So look, getting a green light on this test is about way more than just saying, oh, I'll play more golf. It means having a real, structured plan that covers 3 key areas. 1, purpose. What will give you a reason to get up in the morning? Volunteering? A new hobby? 2, movement. How are you going to stay active and healthy? And 3, and this is a big one, people. How will you stay connected to your friends, your family, your community? Okay. So, what if you went through all that and you've got a few not yets staring back at you? First thing, do not panic. This is actually pretty normal. And that's exactly what this section is for. We're going to look at some powerful tools to help you turn those lights green.
The most important thing to remember is that a not yet isn't a failing grade. It's just a signpost. It's pointing you to exactly where you need a strategy. So let's talk about 2 of the most common and, frankly, most effective ways to fix things and get that solid green light.
First up, a tool called a fixed index annuity, or FIA. This is specifically designed to solve that big test number 1, if you've got an income gap. The simplest way to think about it is you give a chunk of your savings to an insurance company, and in return, they give you a contract promising to send you a paycheck for the rest of your life. The big pros? Your original investment is protected from market losses, and you get that lifetime income. The trade-offs? Your money is usually tied up for a period of years, and your growth potential is typically capped, so you won't get all the market's upside.
Okay, strategy number 2 is a Roth conversion plan. And this is a direct attack on test #4, the tax problem. The logic here is actually pretty simple. You find those years where your income will naturally be lower, like that sweet spot after you retire but before your RMDs kick in. In those years, you strategically move money from your traditional pre-tax accounts over to a Roth account. Yes, you have to pay the income tax now, but you're doing it at a lower rate. And the payoff is huge. You create a big bucket of money that's completely tax-free later, and you shrink the size of those future taxable RMDs.
Whew! Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've walked through the 5 green lights for a truly confident retirement. So just take a second here and think about it. What's your status? How many green lights are shining for you right now?
All right, let's just do a super quick recap of the 5-point test. Number 1, are your essential bills covered by guaranteed income? Number 2, do you know what you'll really spend each year? 3, are your big debts like your mortgage under control or gone? 4, do you have a written plan for taxes and RMDs? And number 5, do you have a plan for your purpose and your people?
And I want to leave you with this one last really important thought. If you don't have all your green lights shining right now, that is perfectly okay. This test isn't about passing or failing, it's about clarity. It's about finding the gaps so you can build a clear, actionable plan that gets you to retirement with real, genuine confidence. The goal isn't to be perfect today. The goal is to have a solid plan for your future.